All right, guys. Here is a graphic that was posted by ESPN PR on Twitter. So we got some cool news, guys. Once again, we have seen history be made, and once again, it is by the Indiana Fever. On yesterday's games, we saw the Indiana Fever, which was the game that started at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time. We saw 2.5 million. Once again, 2.5 million viewers for that game. That game was on ESPN. So game one for the Fever. Game one for the Fever was on Sunday. We had like 1.84 million, I believe, watched that game. That game was on ABC. And then game two, 2.5 million viewers, according to Nielsen. The viewership peaked at 3.4 million viewers. Dog, I was like, man, let's go WNBA. Like I was pretty excited about it. I thought it was pretty awesome that we saw that many fans watch. Now there was the fan viewership did go down for that next game. After that game was over, starting at 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time, it was the Phoenix Mercury versus the Minnesota Lynx. And that game had 1.2 million viewers, which is still really, really good. And that viewership peaked at 2.1 million viewers. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. Like I saw it and I was like, this is great. I love the fact that that we're just seeing big numbers. So again, the Sun versus Fever game was the most viewed WNBA game ever. Okay? Most viewed WNBA game ever. Like how awesome is that, guys? What? Man, like it really is cool to see just how viewership just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And why are they watching? Of course, people are watching because they want to watch Caitlyn. They want to watch Caitlyn and see what she does, and there's a lot of people who love Caitlyn as a player, and now they see her go to the WNBA and they want to root for her and whatnot, and I think that's all fine and dandy. I don't have a problem with that. I know a lot. There's some people out there who's like upset about that or like whatever. I'm happy that more people are watching. Now, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. Actually, let me go to some more stats real quick, and then I'll get to like what actually needs to happen now. So again, more sort of continuation to this topic of the history of the Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever game. This was again most viewed WNBA game ever on cable, whether that was the regular season or for the playoffs. Listen to this next point. The numbers were up 507% versus last year's first round on ESPN average. What? 507%, guys. It's crazy. Also, that game was the most viewed cable telecast of the day among persons. I don't know why they say it that way. Among persons and males under 50. So basically the young people was watching it. Not only did we have 2 million people, 2.5 million on average watch this game. Not only did we peak at 3.4 million viewers, the young people was watching it too. It's crazy. Also for the Phoenix Mercury and the Minnesota. Yeah, for the Phoenix Mercury and the Minnesota Lynx, that again 1.2 million viewers on average. That was up 192% versus last year's first round on ESPN average. Also, that game, the Mercury versus Minnesota Lynx, was the third most viewed playoff game ever on ESPN. So yes, did less people watch the Mercury versus the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, they did. It was half less, or let you know, it was 2.5 million viewers on average for Fever versus Sun, and then half of those people, a little bit less than half of those people, stayed around and they watched the Mercury versus Minnesota game, and that had 1.2 million. But that 1.2 million is the third most playoff game ever on ESPN. So regardless, we're seeing some historic numbers. We're seeing some fantastic numbers coming from the WNBA. Additional highlights, it says the first round averaged 1.1 million viewers. The most viewed opening round ever across all networks. All right. And WNBA Countdown was up 144% versus last year's full playoff average on ESPN. So, guys, I want to make it very, very clear as to, what's leading to these results, right? When it comes down to sports, sure, it's about the gameplay. Sure, it's about the X's and O's and wins and losses and all that stuff, but it's also about personalities. It's also about just what the fans want, and it's what the media pays attention to. When it comes to the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. I mean, that's a huge difference. We saw it in Game 1. Yes, Game 1 was on ABC, so that was definitely a thing. And the other numbers would have been higher had those games been also on ABC. But also the Fever games are earlier because they're central, or not. They're not even Central Time. I think Indianapolis is Eastern Time actually. But anyway, there is a huge draw that Caitlin has and that she has brought to the WNBA, and we have seen big numbers all year due to that. I have a video I'm gonna be popping out pretty soon that I'm gonna talk about. It's basically the WNBA in the numbers, and we're gonna break down, game sellouts for all the teams. We're gonna go through ratings for as many games as I'm able to find. Here's the thing, guys. It's actually somewhat tough to find ratings for all the games because a lot of networks don't actually put out the numbers. Even ESPN, like if it's not like record-breaking numbers or whatever, or if it doesn't like feature Caitlin, like you don't even some games it's really difficult to find the ratings for. But I have a video coming out about that. But you can clearly say and see that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin do move the needle in the WNBA, which is absolute facts. Like I don't know how anybody can argue against that. I think it's like just a true statement. And the tough part that the WNBA has to figure out, okay, well, how do you get people to stay with you even if their favorite player and favorite team is now out, right? There's a lot of people who, even people who rock with my channel who are checking out. They're like, hey, we appreciate you. We enjoyed the coverage and whatnot, but my team is out, so I'm gone. And I get it, but what can the WNBA do? How can the WNBA get fans who say they're not interested in other players and whatnot, other teams and whatnot? How do you get them to continue to watch, right? So 2.5 million people watch Fever versus Sun on average. How do you get some of those people to continue to rock with you? How can you? I think that's the big question that the WNBA has to figure out. You have to figure that out. And to be honest with you, I don't really have the answers. I don't. But I think you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out because what you don't want to do is you don't want that game game 2 of the first round to get 2.5 million viewers and the finals get less than that, right? You don't want that. And so how can you get those fans to stay with the WNBA? Bobby says the NBA is smart. It promotes its young and upcoming stars like Wembanyama. The WNBA does the opposite so as not to shatter the fragile egos of the more established players, not smart folks. Do you think I mean, I maybe I'm too in the weeds, but I've seen a boatload of the WNBA promoting the young core, i.e. Caitlin, Angel, was Cameron Brink until Cameron Brink got hurt. But I've seen a lot of it. Like maybe we're not like all looking at the same thing, but like I see the WNBA promoting it a lot. Like I think that's smart. Yes, you want like yes, absolutely. The vets are here and you should like celebrate them as well. But also yeah, promote the young players. And I think the WNBA does that. Do they do it as well as the NBA? No, because the WNBA isn't the NBA. They don't have the infrastructure as the NBA. They don't have the personnel as the NBA. They don't like it's not the same. But I do think that the WNBA does promote younger players, right? You see it quite a bit, in my opinion, at least. But how can you continue to build and grow, right? You know that there's a huge fan base, right? Huge fan base for Caitlin and the Fever. Is there a way to sort of get them to continue to support other teams and whatnot to continue to grow the game of women's basketball? Or is it one of those things where, we saw a peak of 2.5 million viewers on average. We won't see that again. And, that's it, right? So long, wait till next year to get viewers or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that the solution or is the solution something else? Like, there has to be a way to continue to grow and continue to have people watch, because the thing is, the interest in the WNBA in terms of media is going to go down. It's going to go down because the Fever's not in the playoffs anymore. Like today on ESPN, I saw a lot of they're sort of looking at Caitlin's rookie year and whatnot, and they're taking a look at what went wrong for the Indian Fever. I did see that they did mention Diana Taurasi and her game and they probably mentioned Nafisa. I probably missed that, but the overall coverage of the WNBA will go down on ESPN, because the number one thing you want, ESPN wants attention, they want clicks, they want views. So what are you going to do? You're going to talk about the Indian Fever, of course, because that it's a way to get views. People are going to watch. People are going to talk about it. They're going to post the clips on social media afterwards to build more momentum. We're going to see less talk about the WNBA on ESPN, which unfortunately will lead to less casual people knowing when games are and knowing what's going on to watch the games, right? But is there something that the WNBA can do to try to not have this happen in the future? Because as we continue on, we will have the next generation of college players come in, right? You have Paige Beckers who'll be in next year. We got a couple more years until Juju, but you also have like the likes of Malaysia Fulwiley, Hannah Hidalgo, others, lots of great players who will have their own fan bases, and even the players that we don't even know their names yet, right? There's a whole crop of talented players who I believe will also come with fan bases as well. But how do you take advantage of the built-in player fan bases, but also grow that so those fan bases aren't just solely tied to one player and one team? Is it possible? I think it's possible. Do I have suggestions on exactly how to get there? I don't. That's the but they got to figure it out. Let's see. What do y'all have to say? FM says Olivia Miles. Yep. Olivia Miles is great. Possibly will be on the Chicago Sky next year. We'll see. Eddie V says Kate Martin to the Fever next year. Guys, that would be wild. I'm telling you, if the Indiana Fever is able to pull that off, oh, that's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. Crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. Utopian says the W needs the Fever to be good and for the Sparks to draft Beckers. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry I missed the super chat earlier. Thank you so much, Vic, for the super chat. Vic says, thank you for always being a reasonable, rational voice covering the WNBA. As a Fever fan, I will miss Nalissa Smith. She had swagger and style. Well, thank you so much, Vic, for the super chat. I try my best to be like really, guys. I really try to be as rational as possible. And like even keeled. I know not all of you all think that, but like I truly come to this space from a place of like love. Like I love the game, been obsessed with it since I was a kid. Love the WNBA. I want women's basketball to succeed in the or in America in general. I want whether it's the WNBA, whether it's another league, I don't care. I want women's basketball to succeed. Like that's what I want. I love the game. I want to cover it. And I want to cover it well. Like I don't want to just say the things that will get me clicks and views, right? I want to say the things that I truly feel and I truly believe. And that's what I try to do on this channel. It's not the most popular at times. People get mad at me and they say I'm biased and they say all this other stuff. But I truly try to look at the game in a rational way, in a way that what I feel a neutral observer that sees everything I see would think. Yes, I am a Sky fan. I'm wearing a Sky shirt right now, right? I'm a Sky fan. But at the end of the day, I love women's basketball way more than I love the Sky. And I tried my best to sort of cover the game and give players their just due as much as I can, though, if this was my full-time job, I'd be doing way more than this, but can't do everything, but I try my best, right? And I don't want to do it off the back of one player. Like I don't want to grow this thing into a thing off the back of one player, off the back of one team. Even though, not knocking people who do that, but it's like this is rooted in the actual growth of the game of women's basketball, not in not in one team. And this is not a knock on the Fever, actually. This is not at all. Because I really do like the Fever. And guys, like truly, like I've actually liked the Fever for a long time. Mainly because I'm in Chicago. Like the Indiana Fever is the closest thing we got besides Chicago Sky. So I've always watched the Fever games, like the Fever, So this has no knock on them. So before someone said in the comments saying, Quita's hating on the Fever because they have a lot of people making videos about them. No, that's not what I'm doing. Quita's hating on Caitlyn because she has a lot of videos about her. That's not what I'm doing. She's awesome too. Me and my mama literally went down to Iowa just to watch Caitlyn play. Literally. She's great. No issues with that. Thank you so much, 3 Diglets, for the super chat. Says Smith won't return to the Fever. Says that's pretty freaking awesome, actually. That's great news. Thanks. Okay. Okay, 3 Diglets. Okay. All right. Brian says ESPN mock draft has the Sky drafting Anissa Morrow. Yeah. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. I like Anissa Morrow. Anissa Morrow is a local legend. She's great. Absolutely. From Chicago, played high school in Chicago. She's great. However, I don't think it makes any sense for Anissa Morrow to come to Chicago. And I feel like I'm the only person who thinks that. I don't get it. I don't understand why is the mock draft saying Anissa Morrow to Chicago? Why? Is it because she's from Chicago? Because I don't think it makes any sense in terms of the personnel that's currently on the team and whatnot. Like I don't get it. I don't think it makes any sense to me. Why would the Chicago Sky be drafting another player who loves to play in the post? It makes no sense. Logically, I don't get it. Anissa Morrow, yes, she does have a jumper, but her bread and butter is in the post. She loves to get in the post, right? She's a player that, like, when she was at DePaul, she got a lot of rebounds and she loved to be in the post. You already have Camila Cardoso, post player. You already have Angel Reese, loves to be in the post. Neither one of them really have that much of a game away from the basket. Yes, Angel does have a bit of a jumper. She's trying to work. She's trying to get it better. She's trying to extend her range. Yes, Camilla did hit that one 3-point shot before, right? Angel hit a couple 3-point shots this year, but for the most part, both of these players, bread and butter, is in the post. Both of these players. So why would you draft somebody like Anissa Morrow? Anissa's great, literally. I think for Chicago, that would be fantastic. If like Chicago would love it. Myself as a Sky fan would love it if Anissa came to Chicago because she's a hometown girl. It's kind of like Derrick Rose when he was drafted to Chicago, right? You want the hometown kid to come back home, right? But I don't think it makes any sense because yes, Anissa has a shot, but her bread and butter is still in the paint, and I don't think it makes any sense to pick her up.